So my name is Ciaran Bagnall and I'm the set and lighting designer for Educating Rita. Educating Rita is acknowledged as a room in an old college, so a Victorian office for Frank. So it's about creating his environment that Rita then sort of comes in this whirlwind of language and enthusiasm for education. But she comes in through, we have this door, our main entrance to the space is upstage centre. It's what we call sort of in a normal pros theatre where the audience are in front. We have areas called upstage, which is the furthest away from the audience, and then downstage, just down towards the audience, and then we have stage right, stage left. But upstage centre, we have the main doorway that we'll see Rita enter and exit. And Frank will largely remain within the space. It's always Rita who sort of interrupts his kind of day. So we have sort of all the sort of detail that we need for the actors to work through the piece, with the tables, the desk, and there's various different props, various different items that Frank uses throughout the piece. For me, what really kind of struck me was about the enlightenment of Rita and the kind of the light that she brings to the room for Frank. So Frank's kind of been in this sort of quagmire of alcohol and losing his enthusiasm of life, basically. And Rita comes in and kind of stirs all that up for him. For not only they both have something to gain from the being in this sort of relationship in terms of Frank being able to empower Rita with the wealth of education and knowledge, and Rita by just sort of bringing life back into Frank's world. So I had this image of Frank kind of almost being stuck at the bottom of a well, so we had this working on that in terms of the shape of the space being in the round, and obviously the audience being 360 degrees around the cast. We wanted to feel that this sort of that he was trapped in this kind of pit. So around the entire space, we tried to create this very sort of claustrophobic feel of the books that sort of that free Rita, but that have also sort of trapped Frank to where he is now. So we have this ring of books that will sort of play different kind of tricks throughout the piece. You'll see there is a reveal later in the show that the books become quite theatrical, and we see the kind of devastation of the impact that alcohol has had upon Frank's life. But also at the back and around sort of the auditorium, we've got these sort of huge windows. I've always sort of been fascinated by the idea of Plato's the cave, the story of the cave, where there's a civilization that basically grown up in the dark. And they have no knowledge of the light that is outside until they're shown it, but they could never, it's this idea that they could never have imagined that they needed to be shown it. So as the stakes get higher for both characters, these windows will play a lot of dramaturgical work in terms of lightening the space as we go through, so literally becoming the light that is education, or that is life. So they'll begin quite dim, dark, but at the end, towards the end of the piece, there'll also be sort of the outside world coming into the space and kind of bringing life back to Frank. Not only are we performing this here, but we're also taking it to Derby. The first kind of opportunity to look at was the fact that obviously we're doing the round in Bolton, but in Derby it's end on. So how do we approach that? So it's the same footprint for Derby to here, in terms of what I mean by that is the actual playing area will be the same, but we just transfer to Derby with facing the audience rather than the audience behind us. The audience are all in front of the cast, and this provides then the backdrop. So these hanging bookcases provide the backdrop to the space. And there's obviously practical issues in terms of books and needing the right type of claustrophobic space and spaces where the different characters can go. In the round, obviously, it's quite an intense playing area, but we've also, so as well as trying to convey these sort of bigger ideas of light and education, we've also got these little pockets of areas characters can kind of quietly go to. And one device we're using, which is quite fun, is this idea of these little library steps to try to elevate the characters in the space as well, so the cast and the actors can have a bit of fun with being able to get up to a higher position. So it's not all just on one level, it's not all in one plane. They've got lots of things that they can play about with and literally reach different heights.